Friends, it's Ranger Russ from the Meigs Nature Center coming to you today from out by our Cedar Island Trail. I want to let everybody know we've got a very special program coming up this Saturday. We will be meeting with Dr. Nick Bellantoni, former state archaeologist, to talk about the Native Americans that lived along the coast here. So we're very excited to be bringing you that program this coming Saturday, 10 o'clock. And then next Saturday, we have another special program, and I'll give you more details on that in the upcoming week. So also, these programs will continue to happen Tuesday through Friday at 11 o'clock. So please continue to tune in. And I'm going to ask everybody to please go to Meigs Point Nature Center's YouTube channel and subscribe. Really trying to reach that 1,000 subscriber mark, so that we can do some YouTube live programs as well as the Facebook live programs. Now, I want to show you where I'm standing here. So we're going to flip the camera. You can see off in the distance there the old and new Nature Center buildings. You can see my truck there too behind that tree. All right. Also, please put up where you're messaging from if you have any questions or comments, or just want to tell everybody where you're from. Always appreciate to see that. So hello, Michigan. So here we are. I did a program on this field, and you can view that program on the YouTube channel or on our website if you visit the Virtual Learning Center at meigspointnaturecenter.org. Hello, Sharon is not camping any longer. Our campground is closed. So you can see, very beautiful day here today at Hammonasset, nice and warm. It's a bit windy, but beautiful day out here. The tide is up out in the marsh. You can see there's some water showing through, and there's a great egret out there as well. So I've done, I think, 4 or 5 Cedar Island Trail walks, and we're going to do another one today. So I really want to show the changes in this trail. If you go back and view the trail through the entire year, we didn't really start until springtime, but it will give you an idea, and I'll do these. I think we're doing them about every 5 to 6 weeks. So we'll keep on doing that right through the year and talk about the differences in the Cedar Island Trail. Now, this trail originally was the road to get to Cedar Island, and that's how it got its name, the Cedar Island Trail. And we'll look at Cedar Island when we get to the end of the trail. But this was actually a road, and I've been told, and I've never seen it myself, that there are rocks along this trail that the wagon wheels made grooves in. And I'd really like to see that. I'm kind of skeptical, because I kind of think because this, along this trail is a moraine. This is a recessional moraine created as the glaciers were receding and left a pile of rock and debris. I have a feeling it could be actually glacial scrapes on these rocks. So in the orientation will tell us, and how old the scrapes are will tell us. So if anybody knows where these scrapes in the rocks are, please let me know, because I have not found them. Now, before we head down the trail, this stone right here is part of a tectonic plate. This stone over here is also part of a tectonic plate. And I don't know the name of the two plates. This one, I believe, was the Avalon plate. And they came together. Now, this doesn't mean that these two came together right here. We had a geologist out, and he explained that the glacier probably picked these up and dropped them off here. But these are two stones from two completely different plates. So, all right, we're going to see what sorts of things we can find along the trail today. We're not going to see a lot of flowers in bloom, although we do have, if you guys remember, where was the program I did? Miller Pond, the woodland asters. We do have some woodland asters. They're just going by. The asters are a fall flowering plant. There's some more there. Okay, we've got some, there's a little bittersweet growing there. Those berries are, what are those berries on? Looks like, I'm not sure what those berries are on. I was gonna say a briar, but that's not green briar. So I'm not sure what these berries, there's no leaves with it, so that's kind of hard to tell. Now here's some briar. This is multiflora rose. This is an invasive. It looks like somebody cut that one off too. There's some color in that aster there. The asters aren't always white. They do get purple or a pinkish color, usually more purpley. So if you remember from the past walks, I don't think, except for the last one, we saw these asters in bloom until the last walk. Now, the last walk I did, I believe, was right after our storm, Isaias. I don't know if I say that right, but and it browned up the leaves. And if you look, you can see most of the leaves here still are either brown or have fallen. I don't think we're going to get any color out here on Cedar Island because of that effect. Now, we did look at this a couple of times, this low branch. I've explained that this is, you know, a tree that grew with sunlight available all the way to the base of the tree. But I want to show you, if you look here, you can see the water is coming right up. So we're high tide. The water is right up near the base of this tree. If the tides too often reach the trunk of the tree or even these roots, eventually it's going to kill this tree. So as sea level rises, when I first started, this tree, this Phragmites here, was out past the tip of the tree, the tip of that branch there. The Phragmites wasn't creeping any, and then the salt marsh was beyond that. Now the Phragmites is right under the tree branch, and the salt marsh is encroaching further and further up. So that's in the 20 years that I've worked here, it's probably come in, I don't know, that area right there, probably only about 15 feet. Other places where it's shallower and more gradual, I've seen more than 20 feet of encroachment from by the salt marsh inland. There we've got a hickory right here. The hickory is a compound leaf. So this is a single leaf. That's the stem of the leaf. And these are leaflets on our hickory, mockernut hickory, I believe. Yep. Okay. So that's a giant, look how big that leaf is. The stem there is 8 inches on its own, and then some of these leaves, if they were intact, the leaf would probably be about 8 inches. So hickories get some really large leaves. All right. There's British Columbia. Hello. What does this say? Will the blue moon this month cause a tide problem? So a blue moon doesn't cause any different tide issue than a normal full moon. And a blue moon is occasionally a month ends up with 2 full moons. So it will act just like another full moon. The full moons are spaced out evenly, whether there's tides or not. Look at those beautiful asters. Look at that. So the answer to the question, the blue moon will be just like any other full moon that we have. Those are beautiful asters. So that's not a woodland or a forest aster, a wood aster, or I keep calling it woodland, and that's the way I learned it years ago. A wood aster or a forest aster. That might be a New England aster, although typically they are much purpler. So we'll have to look up that aster. It's beautiful though. I love it when it's high tide, because look at this. You can see the water is right up here. Actually, we'll get a better view from the bridge. We're almost to the bridge. Let's go there. And that aster distracted me because it was right next to my hackberry, one of my favorite trees of all time. Not a common tree at all. It's the only one that I know of in the park. Bob might know of other ones, but that's the only one I know of at Hammonasset. And the hackberries are edible. All right, so look at this. The water is up here. We can see, let's pan over. We'll show you some egrets out stalking through there. Now, egrets do migrate, some of them, most of them. But the great blue heron, we'll get a great blue heron that will stick around here all year. Sometimes two. I remember one year we think that there were three. We never saw three at one time, but people were sighting them pretty regularly, and we're pretty sure there were three that year. So the egrets migrate out, and the heron, even if they don't stay here all year, they'll come from the north and they'll come here, and then they'll stay here, and then they'll go back north. So we do get birds that migrate to Hammonasset, including the northern harrier, which I've already seen a northern harrier over a month ago, really early one. But it didn't stick around. Now, if you see that red down there, that's our glasswort. And let's take a peek over here, see if we see anything in the water. Sometimes, yeah, there's some little fish in the water here. Let's pan this down. There's some fish moving around. I think I'm spooking them. This is pretty cool. I believe this is the first time that we've had a high tide, or a tide this high, when I'm doing one of these walks. Now, I mentioned earlier that this trail is on a moraine, and there's a boulder from the moraine right there. So that boulder was dropped here by the glacier. All right, and we've got a lot of groundsel out here. And some marsh elder. Ooh, here we go. There's something to look at. We have scat. Now, you can usually tell what an animal is eating by looking at the scat. And right away, I see in this scat, right here, we've got a little bit of a crab claw, a little tiny crab claw. Let's see if you guys can see that. So this animal has been out foraging in the marsh, eating small crabs. This could be a young fiddler crab. It could be the small claw of a male, or both claws from a female. But that looks like a fiddler crab claw. And actually, if you look, there are lots of claws. Look at that. There's a ton of them. Oh, what's this here? This might be... Yes. So this is part of a leg, but this is either a mud crab or an Asian shore crab. You can see the bit of a stripe there. So it's not just eating fiddler crabs. And there's some exoskeleton there as well. So this is probably going to be a raccoon. Oh, somebody just passed by. Hello. Okay. So we've got a raccoon that has left a nice pile of scat right here on our boardwalk just for me to look at. Okay. Again, if anyone has any questions anytime, you can post them up. And I appreciate if you say where you're messaging from as well. Okay, so we're going to look here. We've got a little oak grove going. So this is what I was talking about. This oak right here still has some leaves on it. This is a white oak. Looks like a red, no, that's a black oak in the back there that is dying. It's much closer to the marsh and it's probably getting the tides washing over it. And then this oak, eventually it's going to die as well because the tide, I can already tell that the tides are getting close to the base of this tree here. So groundsel's getting ready to flower here. So we've got some nice, look at this, nice tufts on this plant. Cotton. So this is the time of year it's easy to tell the groundsel from the high tide bush. Oh, this is I just stabbed myself with it. Rose, I'm blanking on the name. We saw it when we did the field walk. Dog rose, Japanese dog rose, I think that was. All right, let's keep, yep, here it is right there. There's the rose. Let's see. Someone says germs, maybe about the scat. Usually not. When it's been sitting out in the sun for a while, dries out. You're not going to get a lot of germs in it. All right, so we have looked at this falling tree a couple of times. We'll take another look at it, but let's talk a little bit again. One of my favorite subjects, poison ivy. This is poison ivy. It is red right now. Not all of it is going to be red though. You might find it very yellowy or brown. So you want to watch out for, and if you look, it's usually 3 leaves growing together. But look right there, those are 2 leaves. One of them has fallen off. This time of year is another one with 2. So this time of year, lots of the leaves fall off. You're not necessarily going to see those leaves growing together. And here is one growing pretty tall. So look how tall that is. And this also is this poison ivy? Yes, it is. So there's poison ivy. It can grow freestanding here at Hammonasset up to about 8 feet. So we've looked at this tree that's blown down. Now it is possible this tree is got leaves on it and it still has green leaves. They haven't died. These are live. These are actually new growth green leaves, and there's new growth growing out of there. Can you see this right here? This is really cool. This started after this tree fell. Okay, this was a branch. Looks like that one didn't survive, but we've got new growth growing out of here. As long as there is some nutrients and water coming from the roots, this tree will still live, laying on its side like this. Oh, got my microphone hooked in there. So we can expect to see, look, all of this green, this is all new growth on this tree after the tree fell. So this tree could still, next year, we may see some new growth growing on it. This will be really curious to watch over time and see how much this tree is able to grow. Eventually, because of that root mass won't be able to collect as much water as it would if it were standing up. Half of the roots are broken off, so it's only got the bottom half of the roots. We'll probably see this tree won't be able to survive that. But I have found them occasionally out in the woods that are, still growing years after they fell. All right, these are the branches from that tree after they were cut and cleared off the trail. Here's a different one. That was a white oak. This is a black oak over here. And I don't know if you guys can see out into the marsh there. We've got our egrets are moving around. Now, this tree over here, let's go take a look. The base of the tree is interesting to talk about. If you look here, so at one time there was a second tree growing up here. It could have been, probably was an oak. This is an oak. Like a red oak? Yeah, so I think this is a red oak. So this could have been a red oak growing. It could have been a completely different tree and this tree just grew around it, but I'm guessing because of its proximity that these were, it was a split trunk. This one died, but it's created a place where you can get some rot going, okay? The whole inside of this tree is rotted out. Let's see how far I can reach in here. Wow. So there is nothing left but maybe 3 inches of trunk around it, which is all the, structurally, that's all this tree needs, as long as it goes around the whole thing. But this rot is going to continue to happen. Eventually this tree is going to come down as well. You can look at this scar has healed here. See that? That's a healing scar. If it goes all the way, when you get a big long one like this, a lot of times that's from a lightning strike. And okay, I think we have, yeah, let's look up here. The rot, look at this. The rot is popped through up there as well. And that branch is dead. The next one up is dead. I think we have a lightning strike tree here. Got hit, blew right down the center, split the tree, and allowed, it killed where the lightning strikes it, it kills the parts of the tree around the lightning strike. Now here we've got another tree that's got some interesting formation growing out the side of it. So this looks like some sort of injury or scarring that's healing over. There's a little knot there as well. And it's got healing here, bulging out quite a bit. Look at that. I think I saw this at Mono Pond too, and I was very intrigued by how far out this comes. So, looking up this tree has some rot going up it as well. There's an opening. Let's see if I can show you the opening. The sun's going to be a little tough, but you can see that opening there. That looks like a branch that died, broke off, and it created an opening that the rot can penetrate. And that will happen sometimes. The rot will reach into the tree. I'm seeing a lot of dead trees. Now, this is what I expect to see a dead tree. We have sassafras here. Okay, this is a live sapling sassafras, and this one a bit bigger, but this one's completely dead. Okay, you can see there's nothing up on the top of this sassafras. This is what you expect, because when the oaks and maples take over, they grow taller, they shade out the sassafras, which is a tree that's not as shade tolerant, and the oaks replace those faster growing, like the tulips and the sassafras, even the birch, eventually get replaced as a successional forest occurs and you reach the climax forest, which in this area are the hardwoods, the oaks, maples. It used to be elm, hickory, things like that. All right, I haven't been checking for questions, so let's take a look. Scat has totally different meaning in jazz music. Yes, it does. All right, I don't see any other questions. Let's see, we have, on your recommendation, walked at McMudis yesterday, saw many of the things you showed. Glorious hike. Awesome. I'm glad that you hiked McMudis. I'm going back. Actually, I should say that in general, every place that I've done a hike or a walk, different park or forest, I want to go back. I have found some reason at every place to say, oh wow, I need to get back here. And McMudis was no exception. It was amazing up there. All right. So again, let's just take a pan here. We're going to look. This is a successional forest. This is working its way to being that hardwood climax forest. Not as much undergrowth. The undergrowth is being shaded out by the canopy of these larger climax trees, the hardwood trees. And eventually, we're not going to have like, oh, we just passed a whole bunch of shad bush. I didn't talk about it on the other side. But those things get shaded out over time by the hardwoods. Even these nice little cedars we have here, they don't like the full shade either. Now, here's an interesting thing. I don't know if I've showed you this on past walks. This is a piece of wood that washed up, and during a storm it got pushed against this cedar. And now it looks like the cedar is starting to wrap around it. It's growing right around this trunk of this tree here. So look at that. How cool is that? And that's because if you look out across the marsh here, this is where a lot of storms come from, and there's nothing here to really stop these big logs from getting washed in and pushed against the tree. They would have been washed completely across the marsh, but the tree stopped it. Have you been to Shinipsit Forest in Stafford Springs, Connecticut? I've been there, but not for one of these programs. So yes, that is definitely on the list of places to visit. I did a program there. Ooh, that would have been maybe 18, 19 years ago. It's the last time I was at Shinipsit, so definitely a place to visit. Look, there's a boat out there. Let's see if I can zoom in for you guys, see what kind of boat that is. Looks kind of like our oysterman that up the Hammonasset River. There's a gentleman that runs an oyster operation, and they seed the oysters out here in Clinton Harbor, which that's what we're looking at right there. Got some nice bayberry. So the bayberry is an evergreen. It's a broad-leafed evergreen, so it will keep these leaves all year. It smells delicious too. That's another one of those little roses right there. Now, I have spoken to you in the past about this. Again, 20 years ago when I started here, there were many more cedars. There was a small grove of at least 5 or 6 cedars here on the point. The tide has washed right over them repeatedly, and they've all been, have all died. This is the last one that's left. At least you can see a little bit of it. All right. Around here somewhere too is supposedly the rock that has the grooves in it from the wagons coming out here. I've looked at these rocks. These are glacial rocks again, left by the glacier. It's pretty cool. But I'm not seeing any groove in the glacial rocks. All right, let's look out. I'll show you guys Cedar Island, and then we can wrap up. And there's an egret right out here as well. So these are the cedars. There was a grove of cedars here. You can see that one is down there. There's one that's down right here. That was a white oak. Looks like a really great place for birds to perch now, not necessarily much else than that. Not going to be a nesting spot for our osprey though. There's a great egret. You can see the neck is stretched way out, so it's hunting right now. There's another one. Great or common egret, depends on which book you look it up in. We really need to work on common names in North America. All right, and we've looked at this in the past too. You can see those animal trails through the marsh plants going out to those glacial boulders there. And Cedar Island is right across that little bay of water there. So the glacier comes out, it fades away a bit here. I don't know, I think over, you can see those few little cedar trees there. There are a couple of more glacial rocks, but this is really the end of this moraine. Okay, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3 great egrets right here. Now we have already had sightings of gray seals out on the end of the moraine trail, which is over there. You can see there are cormorants, a whole bunch of cormorants on those rocks there. And our plovers, which nest up, there's some sandpipers over there of some kind. Sandpiper or plover, I can't really tell from this far away. But this little beachy area is where the piping plovers nest. It's one of our endangered species. And you can see that they've taken away the symbolic fencing, so those birds have all moved on. All right, let's check and see if we have any questions. They put up a new tower in Stafford that is beautiful. That's pretty awesome. I haven't been to the tower, so I'll have to check that out. All right, so just a quick reminder, tune in on Saturday at 10 o'clock for our discussion with Dr. Nick Bellantoni, former state archaeologist, about the Native Americans that lived along the shoreline here. And yep, it is amazing color in the marsh today. So you can watch these programs Tuesday through Friday at 11 o'clock, and then occasionally I'll do a special program in the evening, or like our Saturday series that we have going right now. Remember to sign up for our YouTube channel. I need 1,000 subscribers so I can do some YouTube mobile live as well. So until tomorrow, which again, tomorrow, Friday, I'll be on the road visiting another state park. Tune in tomorrow to find out which park I am visiting. Until tomorrow, I will see you all later.